Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have fascinating guests in studio. We have Mary Kay Ferriassi. She's an attorney. And sitting alongside her is Lauren Sinelli, care coordinator, and they're from AZ Health and Elder Law. So welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I'm actually an attorney right now, but before I went into law, I was a nurse. So that was one of the reasons why I chose to name the firm Health and Elder Law, because not only do I do elder law, but I bring that other experience of being a nurse. So I wanted people to know what it is we do rather than maybe just names on a law firm. So I think that that was one of the reasons why I chose that name. So, and I work in the elder law area, so that is basically, you know, we do with estate planning, but then we also help in that next level. When people have to either deal with the documents, we work with the people that are, as they transition through different phases of their, their life.
Right, well, it's a tough situation, and that's kind of where I think you have a great model where Lauren kind of comes in and helps you out there. So Lauren, tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was really excited when Mary Kay reached out to me because she was starting this model called life care planning. So it really helps families, if they need additional care, navigating through this really complex system and unexpected challenges or situations that arise that anyone goes through life. So I was really excited as a social worker to help families kind of navigate this confusing and, stressful situations as best as possible.
Right, because I think many of us, when you're saying families, it's usually the adult child and the aging folks that are involved with. Yes, yeah, so that's a whole social thing. So let's talk a little bit about some of the situations that you guys see and work with that we might not think about it until you're in it. So one of the things on our list is staying in your home or a facility. Talk to me a little bit about those decisions and who makes those decisions.
Well, that's usually one of the first points that we start at, and that's like where we look at and see what's going on with the family, what documents have and haven't been done, because that's an important question. Is the senior still able to make their own decisions? Well, then of course we're going to work with them and honor their decisions. But sometimes that's not always the case, and as you said, sometimes it is dealing with the children, the adult children, and trying to figure out within that situation who has the authority to sort of make those decisions. And once we establish that, then it's sort of like putting together a plan on, are we going to stay home? And a lot of it depends on the needs of the particular senior. But we work really hard to make sure that where they make their choice, whether it be in the home or go to a facility, and of course, based on their needs and it's going to work, we work really hard at making sure that their choices are honored.
It's tricky because sometimes you have the adult children's wishes, and then you've got mom and dad's wishes, and they don't always.
So true, and
meet.
Right,
and everybody thinks
everybody's got their own idea.
Right. Well, and everybody also has their opinion on who's capable of making a decision.
Absolutely.
So how do you navigate that if the paperwork hasn't been done, and dad's saying, well, what do you think, I can't make a decision anymore? And then the kids are like, yes, that's what I am saying.
Sometimes we have to spend a lot of time in that area to kind of decipher who actually does. And again, we work really hard. If it's the senior, if we really think the senior has their capabilities, we're going to advocate for that, and make sure that where they want to be is where they want to be.
Wow. How do you work with them for long-term care, and who pays for that? I think that's a great question because we all hear about long-term care, but it's the financing of being elderly. It costs a lot of money to age.
It sure does. And I think we spend a lot of time educating our clients as to, okay, if we're going to make this decision, what do we think this is going to cost? If we make this decision, in other words, if we stay home, what do we think the cost is going to be here? If we go to a facility, if we go, to an assisted, it is extremely. So we look through the finances, and again, we also have a knowledge base of if there's any sort of additional benefits that we can get them. For example, if this is going to be a Medicaid situation or if there's some veterans benefits. So we work really hard to make sure that we exhaust any other potential financial resources that might be available.
Now, we all often think about aging and needing an estate plan, but there's many other documents that you need, especially if you're that adult child. What should we be thinking about document-wise?
Well, I think from the adult child's perspective, it would be the powers of attorney for healthcare and the powers of attorney for property. One, obviously, is your money, that's your property, and the other one is someone that's going to be making your healthcare decisions for you if you can't based on what you may or may not have told them. And that's a really important part of that power of attorney for healthcare. A lot of people will do them, but not always have that conversation. So it's really, we stress really hard, or we really stress that to our clients, to really have that conversation. Make sure that your agent knows when that doctor or nurse or whomever turns to that agent and says, well, what would mom or dad want? That agent really knows what mom or dad would want. Not what they want, but what mom or dad want. And that takes a strong person, that takes a strong personality sometimes to advocate for that.
Right. And where does, within that power of attorney, and speaking in the medical, where does like some elderly have a DNR? Did I get the initial?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. There's the DNR,
Right.
and then actually in Illinois it's called the PULSed, which is like a DNR on steroids. It has additional fact situations of where you can choose. I always tell my clients, there's like 3 levels of advanced directives. We do the first 2. We do the powers of attorney for healthcare and the living will. The doctors really do the PULSed and the DNRs.
When Mary Kay is dealing with all this, what's your role in working with that client?
So really just supporting that client and the family, going through a lot of the stressful time, making sure to kind of reminding them, when you are doing the documents and you have them, to have them on hand.
Right.
Especially when you're in the hospitals, just always having that, because anytime in these chaotic or stressful situations, having, certain documentation can make it go a little bit smoother to have that on hand. So really just being that support for the family whenever they need me, either emotionally or if you need me there too, help have documents on hand. That's where I can help with the family too.
She's really helpful too, like when we go through our transitions, because it's so important that things don't fall through the cracks.
Right, yes.
Like, so if we've got a client that's being discharged, Lauren's going to reach out to that discharge planner, and wherever, if they're going home or if they're going to a facility, we're going to follow our clients all the way through that process to make sure that, because a lot of times people think that everybody talks to each other, and they don't. So we think that what's being communicated from that physician or that discharge planner is being communicated to maybe who they're going to for their care, and sometimes that's not happening. So Lauren's very instrumental in making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, in the sense of all that communication being transferred. Do we have the right medications? Are we? So we're following a lot of that stuff, sort of being that extra eyes and ears.
And that's where the AZ Health comes in.
Perfect. Yes.
Right, because if I'm getting this all right, that not only am I have the legal backup with you,
right,
but when I hire your group on there, that I'm really hiring you to handle me transferring from maybe my home to a facility, or maybe even staying in place, and then the subsequent things that happen there. So you kind of stay with the family.
Absolutely.
So not only do we get the documentation, but then things may be going well, and then the next thing I know, I might call and say, "Oh my gosh, Mary Kay, Dad wound up in the hospital," and then suddenly you're back engaged.
Right. Then Lauren's going to probably go out to the hospital to make a visit.
Right, and just make sure that you're thinking, okay, now Dad's fallen. And you're thinking, oh, gee, I've been in their house. They have nothing ready for him.
Exactly.
Right, and so that's where Lauren kind of helps make some assessments.
Right.
Wow, that's such a valuable service.
Right. We all kind of, we all kind of talk different languages, like legal language, healthcare language, and then the social work language. We all kind of have, certain, and with Lauren and I, we speak them all.
Well, I think it's important, too, that you put the two together, and with Lauren, you have to have advocates for yourself and for your parents. But when you're in the parent situation, especially as an adult child, you suddenly don't understand why mom and dad aren't advocating for themselves.
Right.
And so, and you just need an advocate, and that's where if Lauren's there going, oh, Dad's going to need this or that.
Right.
Yes.
That she's going to be there almost as your verbal checklist. She's going to say, you need to do this, you need to do this, and then you do need help me doing this. And Lauren's going to reach out and she's going to make that. You need paperwork delivered. You need to go get, all those kinds of extra services that you may not or you may not get in a law firm, but you're going to get them here.
Right. Well, that's because you've kind of combined the law firm with the social service, the support that when you get in these situations you need, that you don't even know you need.
Right. We don't have to send you somewhere else.
Right, and that's so great because and
we're already going to know what's kind of going on in your family, hopefully, so that we don't have to have that, time to get up to speed, so to speak. And we'll have access to the documents. We'll have access to kind of the finances. So that's why it's kind of called a life care plan, because it's trying to get all of this stuff in place for a lot of the what ifs.
Yes, well, and I think it's so valuable. Thank you for thinking of putting those two valuable services together. And
we're really excited about it.
You should be, and you guys come with such heart and compassion. I mean,
we love what we do.
Yeah, we do.
We
and
really
we
do.
love our community, and we really just want to be a resource for them.
Right,
Especially.
Well, it comes through. So thank you for stopping by Business Connection and telling us all about it.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so thrilled that you're in the community. It's such a valuable service. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.